Hello, my name is Dante Renee, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Like tonight's film, this is Molly, otherwise known as Sex in Sweden from 1977. I'm going to block some of the bottom here. You'd see some butts. Let me block that. Okay, this is Molly right here from 1977, Swedish film, otherwise known as Sex in Sweden. Now, really can't show the back too much. There's lots of nudity on the back of this. But this is also put out by Club Super 8 Video, and I bought this off diabolicdvd.com. It was the last copy. This was put out by Club Super 8 in 2012. Club Super 8 Video is actually a Swedish distribution company. Very, very rare company. Very, very rare titles. And I've reviewed one of their titles, some of their titles. I'll be reviewing more of their titles that I've purchased. And this is Molly. Now you can see on the front here we have Marie Forza right there. It's hard to, but that's a side image. That's Marie Forza. I do recognize her from films like Flossie, and she even has a very quick cameo in the Elizabeth Bathory segment in Immoral Tales from Walerian Borocek. I believe it really looked like her. Some people get confused with her between her and the lead in Debbie Does Dallas. Very interesting. But this is Molly. But if you look up Molly, you're only going to see Sex in Sweden. Now, funny thing about the cover of this film, the two butts that I'm blocking out, that scene is in the film, but not that angle. Not that particular angle. That particular angle is not in the film. Closer angles, but you know that cover from a scene in the film, except that scene was not shown like that. It's just very interesting how things like that happen. But this is Molly. This is Sex in Sweden, 1977. This is essentially a film, an adult film that has explicit, hardcore sex, also softcore, implied sex, mostly of the hardcore variety, but a story involving a girl, her adopted sister, I believe, and kind of a vacation taken before marriage. But in that vacation, she assesses her past. She assesses through flashbacks her past, through conversations by the pool. And in that past, it is mixed with longing and love for a man who might or might not reciprocate. And it's more complicated than that. If you could call it a love triangle, a love triangle is redefined in this film as there is complexities within marriage, complexities within virginal longing, complexities within virginal voyeurism, complexities within the free, wild life versus the committed, married life, and can the free cross over into the committed, and what will that take? And views into both of those worlds, commitment and freedom, and longing for what you don't have, and sexual coming of age. This is Molly, Sex in Sweden, 1977. Let's get into this film. First and foremost, the music, the score for this film. The music for this film is, I gotta tell you, the music for this film is unbelievable. You will know from the menu screen, you will know from the first 5 minutes of the movie, from the opening title sequence, the music in this film is so diverse, so awesome. If you love 70s exploitation sound, 70s exploitation adult films, and you love that low budget 70s score sound, you are going to obsess over this movie. I don't know why there hasn't been a soundtrack release. Maybe there has. I am not aware of it. But what we have here is we have music, very synthed music, also guitar work, but we have raging, funky disco. We have very mysterious, atmospheric, make you feel weird, giallo type music, if you understand my drift there. We have almost rock and roll music that is raucous and wild and in your face and loud. We have so many just atmospheric sounds and voices in those sounds. Like I said, some of the aspects of this really remind me of a wild Italian giallo film in the atmosphere. You can almost picture people, walking the streets of Italy, and a mysterious killer is on the loose, a black-gloved killer, and the murders that take place. That's what some of this music is like, and it's almost wall to wall, except in sequences near the beginning of the film we have total silence except for natural sounds of sex, and very, very interesting usage of silence, natural sounds, as well as that wall-to-wall music. And the music is at times seductive, at times sleazy, alluring, but for the most part, I don't want to say sleazy, because for the most part, it's very introspective, mysterious, make you feel weird, get in the gut, exotic, synthesizer, disco, weird. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. The cinematography in this film, we have very interesting editing in the movie, some abrasive kind of cuts, predominantly in a party sequence near the end of the film, that kind of are cutting in very bizarre fashions. We have just, I think, beautiful cinematography, really wonderful cinematography in of people's eyes, and people's eyes peering through crevices. It almost reminded me of Dr. Jekyll and Miss Osborne at times, and beautiful shots of swimming pool and lush villa, and we're really involved in indoors for the most part. I mean, as the story is being told, we are outside at the pool, but the stories outside are really indoor stories, and so we are really inside of the many rooms, the many voyeuristic rooms of a villa, mansion of sorts, a nice humongous home, and we have some horse riding sequences outside, but for the most part, I mean, it's beautiful and sunny always outside, except for a rain sequence that was very atmospheric as well, a cloudy rain sequence with the sound of the rain, and I believe some thunder, but mostly rain. This is just has great shots. There's some light reflecting off of a glass object holding some kind of exotic oils, sexual oils, and the lighting, the shots, just very lush. I thought very, very beautifully done, and very alluring and very interesting. It looks like the film might have had multiple cuts, because sometimes the harder scenes look a little rougher in the film. So this film, I believe, maybe one of the special features as well, has like a softer cut. So this probably went out softer, although it's probably being cropped a lot of the time, because it does occupy a large portion of the film. And just the photography of what is seen and what is not seen, and the way that skin is shown, the way that faces are shown in orgasm, the way eyes are shown. It's done very, even the front of the movie, the way that shot is not in the film, but the way that shot is filmed in the film. The opening title sequence is, it feels like another type of film, and we have narration in the film as maybe flashbacks and things are being told. So we have flashbacks and kind of editing that sometimes you're not exactly sure where you are in the film. But we have just an awesome title sequence that almost reminds you it could be just an exploitation film. It could be maybe it feels like an exploitation film at the beginning of the film. You're not aware that there's going to be, hardcore sex in the film. Now, when we look at the sexuality of this film, the thing that I find so interesting is, yes, we do have hardcore sex in here, and then we also have what seemingly is implied softcore in here as well. But the interesting thing is that the hardcore is in some ways not as long and not as hard as typical hardcore. Yes, we do have ejaculation. We have a variety of positions, and we have oral sex, mostly women to man. We have one orgy type sequence with two men and a woman in a bathtub, but the sequences, I could almost see them. I mean, yes, people are actually having sex and you're seeing it, but it's not as close. It doesn't look like the inserts that you might be used to in some films where they put hardcore inserts. It's not that gynecologically close. And there's no anal or things like that, so it's not as abrasive. It's not as kind of medical, if you understand what I'm saying. It's not like that. It was a very unique form of hardcore in this particular film that I could see fans of softcore kind of saying, okay, this is hot. I could get into this. And it's not as long-winded as well. And the interesting thing is that in the film, for the most part, it is being utilized in a voyeuristic way, which happens a lot in sex films, as you know. It almost is the camera is the eye of a character, which becomes the eye of you. Now, the other thing is we have some very complicated romantic, as I said previously, romantic, love, dramatic things being mixed into many, many sex scenes in the film. But this, here's an interesting thing that I wanted to mention is that, the sex is the story in this film. It is part of the story, and it's very erotic. It's very sexual. I thought every sex scene in the film worked and was erotic and get your blood boiling. And everybody, I thought the women were sexually attractive. The guys are probably going to be attractive in that 70s type of way to women. But we have a lot of complexity in here involving marriage, involving freedom. We have some wild dancing disco sequences in here as well. I wish they were longer. They were freaking awesome. Just, jeans in the screen, beads blowing, breasts blowing, and just wild 70s parties in here as well that will really give you an amazing exploitation vibe as well. But we have a lot of deep complexities that are crazy at the same time. We also have some sexual dysfunctions, and we have voyeurism is definitely a huge theme in the film, and watching other people have sex as that gets some people off, and as you watch this film as a viewer, as a voyeur in a way. But there's a lot of complexity between two brothers, two somewhat sisters. We have very erotic lesbian scenes in this film. Of course, we have masturbation. We have very interesting scene involving oils. This glass jar of oil. Very, very interesting stuff. But it's all fingers. We don't have really any, dildos or things like that going on in here. As I said before, this is a very interesting and well shot and complex hardcore film in the romantic, dramatic element, but at the same time things get pretty deep and pretty twisted in terms of human emotions and, as I said, virginal complexities and virginal voyeurism and things like that. And of course we also have we have incestuous themes running in here as well. And of course free love, but free love is taken to another level in this particular film, where free love is not only something that is expected and is a vacation and it just happens, as we know in 70s films, especially 70s sex films. It is also something that is challenged, and the complexities of free love are shown. And the complexities of family and the complexities of maybe, biblical family, brother ties. And the complexities of unrequited love in a way as well. This is a very, very, don't get me wrong, tons of sex scenes in the film, and they're very erotic, very well done. And not long-winded. Very interestingly, not long-winded at the same time, and not abrasive, as I said. And will really get blood boiling. And Marie Force is awesome. the lesbian scene is very unique involving legs. I will say that, just the way it's shot. Uh, it's very, sometimes woman to man oral is more shot than man to woman. So that's very interesting. And like I said, there's no gynecological per se, but this is an adult film. Here it is, folks. This is Molly, otherwise known as Sex and Sweden, 1977. And what a wild, interesting, erotic film. Thank you so much for watching the 10 Room Bazaar YouTube page, where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more, like Molly from 1977. Thank you so much, and good night.